All right. Hello, everybody. This is going to be part one of a three-part call series in December, where we're going to be exploring what things you might want to change in 2026, talking a little bit about your goals, how to set them, how to make sure you're successful, how to keep yourself accountable in the beginning of the year. So today we'll look at stress, boundaries, and your lifestyle. Next week's call is going to be talking about your mindset. And then our last call of December, we'll wrap it all up into like a plan of action. We can explain how you can stay accountable, adjust the goals as needed in 2026. So kind of just starting that like end of the year, like a ramp up, I guess, to the end of the year to start the new year instead of like spiraling downward with the holidays and then being like, oh no, I need to get on it. So hopefully we can start incorporating some of these things before you actually get to January. So I'll do a quick intro. The title of this call is Stress, Boundaries, and Your Lifestyle, Setting the Stage for a New Version of You. So when we're setting goals, we need to understand what kind of progress or change your current environment will allow. So our environment can only allow us to do so many things. Our time and our energy is limited. That's just being human. And I do want to talk about a pretty divisive saying, and you'll probably see it a lot on social media. It's, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. Shalise is laughing. So if you can't stand this saying, like, don't tune out yet, give me a second to explain. I am not for or against this statement. I am neutral towards it. It's most commonly used in like the grind culture space, which I think a lot of the time can be received as like, you're just not working hard enough, or you're making excuses and that's why you're not seeing progress. And like, I know how untrue that is, so I'm not saying that at all. But the statement itself, when we like remove it all emotion and just take it for what it is true. We do all have like the same 24 hours in a day, but that doesn't mean that your environment versus somebody else's would support or even allow that same amount of progress or change to occur as somebody else. So like when you hear we all have the same 24 hours in a day, you can think of that as you get to choose how your 24 hours go. That doesn't guarantee that you're going to make the same amount of progress as somebody else might. So if there is like a coach saying like, oh, well, we all have the same 24 hours, like just make time. It doesn't work that way, but you do get to choose how you spend your time. So this is kind of why we start with your environment. And like, as far as environment goes, for this call, we broke it out into stress, boundaries, and lifestyle. So we'll go through each of those topics and just kind of go through a couple main points of things you can consider when you're thinking about like, am I stressed? What are my boundaries? Like, does anything need to change with my lifestyle? So hopefully after this call, you'll have some homework to do and you can go write down like areas that you can change. But Shalise, I will let you chime in if you'd like to about the 24 hours in a day, because I love talking about that.
Yeah, I think yeah, I was laughing because I'm just thinking, like, I'm thinking of my moms of 4 kids that are all under 8 years old. And I know, like, I witnessed firsthand the amount of phone calls and schedule changes and, oh, this kid got sick, that kid got sick. Oh, now this one's doing this. Like, putting that into perspective, like when I was a mom of a young child, I had one, and that was very simple, not simple, but it was simple. And then I think of these moms with more kids, and just taking into account that, like, of course, the majority of my clients are women, and just they all lead very different lives. I have 17-year-olds who college or high school or sports or whatever, so their 24 hours looks very different than my mom, who's 34, with 8-year-olds. Like, they all have their different boundaries and barriers to what their 24 hours looks like. So Yeah, that 24-hour, we'll have the same 24 hours phrase drives me insane.
Yeah. Yep.
But then I also tell my clients too, like, but also schedule it, like
Yeah.
have that you still need you time. And if this is
Hmm.
important to you, if fitness is important to you, and that's the one thing that you're going to give back to yourself, then schedule that time too. Like, don't let that one go. Well, I can give that one up. I can give that one up. Quit giving that one up. Quit giving yourself up too. So there's that side of it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. The same, just because your 24 hours is not the same as somebody else's doesn't mean it's an excuse or a reason to not prioritize yourself.
Yeah. Fill your bucket too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's start off with stress. I think that this is important for some people to hear. Stress is not a flex. Like, like if you are stressed and you are always telling people how stressed you are, it's not something that you should be proud of. It's unavoidable. So you shouldn't feel judged for being stressed, but you shouldn't be like, oh, look how stressed I am. I'm just so stressed. Like, oh, I could never do that because I'm so stressed. I can't sleep. Like, I'm just way too stressed. That's not something that we should be saying with that tone. Come to it with curiosity, like, why am I so stressed? Why can't I sleep? Why is my digestion struggling in the mornings when I'm like shoveling food into my mouth as I'm driving a car and drinking a coffee? Whatever the situation is. So although stress is not a flex, it's also unavoidable, and we kind of need to go find some kind of balance, that pesky balance that we try to find with everything in our life. Um, so if you like, I'm sure all of us could name, at least we could fill all of our fingers with things that stress us. So if you think of something that stresses you, ask yourself, are you ignoring the stress? Are you tolerating it? Or are you working to eliminate it? So, like identifying a stress and then identifying how you're addressing that stress. Ignoring a stress can be really problematic. It will probably build up. It'll become a lot more serious than it might actually be sometimes. And then it can feel like, even if there's a simple solution, there's so much stress surrounding the thing that you're just not even going to do it. For example, the giant pile of laundry, the clean laundry on the chair. You just want to fold the laundry. There's so much stress, potentially so much stress associated with like actually doing the laundry that you don't ever fold the clothes. Even though if you did it and you set a timer to do it, it'd probably take you like maybe 10 minutes. So like you feel like, I can't fold the laundry today. Like you just have this long list of things to do. But if you just pick one and do it and time it, it doesn't take that long. Um, I'm getting off topic, but Shalase, uh, as far as like handling stress and helping your clients identify what stresses are detrimental and which ones they're handling well, is there anything that you look for or anything that you do, or any experiences you have with that?
No, it's just kind of always going back to that conversation of, okay, so we know that there's the unavoidable ones, like we
Mhm.
can't control what happens with work. So kids sometimes, like I was talking about with the moms, like with their
Yes.
them getting sick and all that kind of stuff. There's those stresses that we can't control, but then there's the ones that we also, like you talked about, like we force onto ourselves, like, could you have gotten up 10 minutes earlier so you weren't rushing out the door to while you were eating your breakfast or whatever? And 100% I'm that person. So I have no room to talk. I am that person that's running out the door. And yes, 100% it's my own goddamn fault because I pushed snooze twice. So had I not pushed snooze, I would have got my ass out of bed. So, and I would have been just fine. So it's those stresses. What can you control? What can you not control? And then, the big one that a lot of people, like I find a lot of people stress about are things that haven't even happened yet. Like but this is going to happen. What if this happens? What if that, okay, what if it doesn't? You're stressing about it right now for absolutely no reason whatsoever. So forget that right now. Like, don't stress about it twice, maybe not even zero times.
Yeah.
You might not have to 0 times is what I mean. So it's kind of one of those, like, is that something that you really need to focus on right now? Is that affecting you right in the moment right now? Then don't stress about it. And I know it's way easier said than done. I totally understand that. But it is kind of one of those things. It's like, is that going to affect anything moving forward? Is you freaking out about it right now going to fix it? Is you freaking out about it right now going to solve it? Or is it something that just has to come next week and we worry about it next week? Because right now it's not a big deal. So it's like those, yeah, like, don't stress about it twice.
Yeah. Are there any common things that you find your clients stressing about in the future?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head right now.
Okay. Yeah,
It's
it
usually
is.
all personal stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And of course, like
Mhm.
with competitors, it's that kind of stuff. Looking into, well, what if I don't do this? What if this happens? What if that? Okay, so what if you don't stumble on stage? Like, it's like that kind of
Right.
stuff. They're stressing about stuff that hasn't happened. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
All of that mental energy that's going toward imagining this potential negative outcome could be put toward either practicing or, something that will help in that moment, or thinking positive thoughts about those future moments. Like you said, well, what if it doesn't? What if the opposite happens? Or what if something completely neutral happens that's different than anything you would have ever imagined? Like,
yeah.
yeah. Okay. Well, when um when you are stressed, because we said stress is avoidable, when you are stressed, it's super helpful to have stress relief techniques. And I think that a lot of people forget that those techniques are skills. We're not just automatically wired to know how to do these things and to reduce our own stress. You do have to practice them, and hopefully practice them in calm situations so that you can use them when things are not so calm. If you can't get into a calm state when you are already calm and there's nothing around you that should be causing any, sort of stress or negative emotion, if you can't do that, then how could you do it in a situation where there are outside stressors? It's the same thing as practicing before a big game or practicing your posing before you get on stage. Um, so our expectations of learning something new, they have like a tendency to be very skewed. I actually just posted something on my Instagram where it's a line and it says, like, these are our expectations. And at the beginning, we expect our results to be, or our actual results are lower than we expect. And then at a certain point, our results start to be greater than what we would have anticipated. But most people quit before they even reach the point where the results get better. So if you adjust your expectations and your mindset to realize that it does take time and it does take effort, but anything that you practice will get easier over time. So if you're practicing doing, like, going in the sauna or cold plunging or journaling or breath work, or even just like going for walks with or without music, whatever lets you release, yoga, all these things that can help relax you and connect you to both like your mind and your body. You don't just walk in and, get that like super enlightening experience. It does take practice to get there. So you have to be patient with yourself.
Yeah, and I know I've brought this up on several conversations that we've had with like our lives and stuff like that, but one thing that helped me was the book, The Atomic Habits,
Mm,
because it talks about how to make your life easier, and stacking habits to make them habits eventually. And then eventually you're so used to doing them that they're no longer habit. Well, they are habits. They're not something that you're thinking about doing because you've done them so often that they're now just a part of your lifestyle. And I love the way he talked about like stacking them like that. Like, before I do this, I have to do this first. or after I eat, this is the first thing I'm going to go do. And like stacking them like that. So you have a goal, like this is when I'm going to get it done. You put a time on it and you get it done. And that's like how your routine is. And it functions well. But yeah, like you said, it's that consistency over time that eventually makes it a habit. Like I had a client, like while you were talking, I was thinking of Nancy. Like Nancy, when she first started working with me, she's like, I have a hard time getting in water. She's like, I know I don't drink enough water during the day. And Nancy's been working with me for years. And so this is when she first started. And like about a year later, she was reflecting on that. She's like, it's not even a thought anymore. She's like, I do it.
Yeah.
Like it's part of my day. Like I just know I'm getting it done. So she's like, it's kind of cool that it's at that point where it's just changed. Like we talked about last Wednesday, it's a lifestyle, like it's just part of the day. But yeah, like, I don't know where I was going on with that, I guess, but like minimizing the stresses in your life by developing habits. So.
Yeah. Well, what's so cool about those, the self-help books that kind of like resonate with you, because there's different books that'll work for different people. There isn't one book for everybody, but all of those books just give you tools that can help you actually feel in control of your life. The number of people that I talk to who feel like their life is happening to them and they're not actually, like, they feel like they have to do everything and life is happening to them and it's all out of their control and they couldn't take time for themselves or do the things that they want even if they tried. Like, that's where I think self-help books can really help, because it forces you to like think about your life and look at your lifestyle in a different way, and then take accountability for the role you play in that life, whether it's intentional or not, or you have, no one's going to choose those things on purpose. So this isn't to say that you're living your life the wrong way, just that you could be living it in a better way for you, not for anybody else, but just for you.
Yeah, and start small too. So again, developing habits for those stresses. Another thing I was thinking of is like you brought up journaling. I think you did. You said journaling earlier, didn't you? Yeah, I wasn't just making that up. Okay. You brought up journaling. Like I was having a conversation with a client and she was saying, she's like, journaling just takes too long. She's like, I don't want to, oh, here's what it was. Like she was struggling to sleep at night because she was stressing about all of the things that she had to do the next day, or all the things that she didn't get done that had to carry over to the next day. So she was freaking out about like that, like how to do that. I'm like, okay, well then with that, I go, then brain dump it on a piece of paper of all the things, just get it off your head that night, write it all down. She's like, well, that's going to take too long. I'm like, okay, so give yourself a minute, start with a minute, start there. And let's do that. Let's journal just for a minute. The timer goes off, put it away. That's it. And then maybe the next day or whatever, 2 weeks from now, next month, whatever, it's a little bit more, whatever, do what just makes sense to you. See if you can find that time in there. And she did end up being one of those. She's like, I journal every night for 5 minutes and that's all I do. 5 minutes. I write what I need to write and then I'm done. And she's like, it's the best thing for me just to make sure, one, I don't forget all the things that were on my mind that night that I need to do the next day. But then it just also, like, she starts with a positive and she ends with a positive. Like, here's what went well today, brain dump. Here's what went well today or this week or something, like, or what I'm looking forward to tomorrow, or what's my goal for tomorrow. So I thought that was cool that she made it her own eventually. Like, that's how she progressed it on her own.
Yeah. And there's no rules.
Yeah.
Like, your techniques don't have to look the same way as somebody else. Exactly. I like that a lot. Ending it with sandwiching with positives.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Anything else on stress before we move on to boundaries?
Liz, do you want to chime in anything? Put you on the spot. You can say no or ignore
no.
me. Okay.
Oh, no, I'm not going to ignore.
No, I know you're not ignoring.
Oh, all right. Then we'll go on to boundaries. The first thing that I have that comes to my mind when I'm thinking about boundaries is what fills your cup versus what empties it. And I think that that's a great question to help identify an area where you might want to have a boundary if possible. So that's a really cool exercise that you can do, is just write down like, okay, what are the things that do fill your cup? Those are probably going to be things that are related to self-care, or, spending time with your family, or just things that lift you up. And then things that empty your cup might be those things that are a little bit more like, okay, this is something I have to do. Maybe you don't really like doing that thing, but it's necessary. And even better, honestly, if you can think of a something that empties your cup that isn't necessary, because then keep that out of there. Don't do that thing anymore. If it's not required and it doesn't fill you up or isn't beneficial to you in some way, then don't do that thing. Um, Another question that you can ask yourself is, what expectations have you given yourself that others aren't holding you to? So, Joyce is smiling. I love this one so much because everybody does this. Everybody puts so much pressure on themselves to do all these things to try to either please other people or do what they think is expected of them. But then if you were to actually ask that person, like, hey, did you notice that I folded the napkins in the shape of a butterfly before you came over for dinner tonight? They're like, no, I just thought it looked beautiful. Like, your home is beautiful. You're like, oh, so I didn't have to spend that 15 minutes. Of course, that's a silly example, unless you love folding table napkins. But there are so many areas where, I see it a lot with kids too. And that's a tough part of like deciding, like, parents do get to decide a little bit of what their kids do, but at the end of the day, like, what does your child actually want? Are you trying to give them more than what they're asking for? Would they want something else if you were to ask them? So like having those conversations with kids too, whether it's about sports or school or um you know all that stuff. I think there's parents want to give their kids like a really, really great life. And sometimes it's stuff that the kid doesn't even notice. Birthday parties with like a lot of themed, baskets and bags and all these things. I don't know, some kids like that. I'm not trying to tell anybody how to live their life, but just little examples that might come up and make you think like, huh, how much extra effort am I putting in that might not be completely necessary?
Yeah. And it is okay to say no. Like that's like it's very freeing to say no. I know, like, I work with a lot of women who are high achievers, and they're always saying yes, yes, I can do that, yes, I can do that, yes, I can do that. I heard one of the, like, my mother-in-law actually has said this quote, like, if you have a task that you need to get done, give it to the busiest person, they'll find a way to get it done. And I'm like, that's so true. That's 100%. We are yes people. Like, we will get shit done. But then kind of going back to like your boundaries, the reason I was laughing about this is because Ken and I were just having this conversation the other night where, like, when I got sick, was that last week? Like,
Yeah.
how guilty I felt because I wasn't getting to my check-ins on time. And like, I put this pressure on myself, like, oh my God, everyone's gonna be so mad because I didn't get to their check-ins on time. Like, no, I'm sick, damn it. Like, I take that time off. It's not a big deal. I shot that email back and got emails back from the clients going, oh my gosh, no problem. Take your time. Just get it back to me when you're feeling better. I'm like, yeah, because 1 or 2 days isn't going to make a big deal of whether they're making progress or not. So it was like that stress I put on myself for my own personal expectations that I had put on myself of what needs to get done. And obviously everybody was like, you're fine. You're sick. Take the time off. It's okay. So, and it's funny because I say the same thing to them. I'm like, you're sick. You're fine. It's okay. You didn't go to the gym. You didn't check in today, whatever. It's fine. But, it's like you said, the expectations we have of ourselves.
Mm-hmm. I like when you said that it's okay to say no. And, being a yes person is, so it feels like it's easier because you're like, oh yeah, like I got that. I'm just going to do it. Whether you want it done right or you don't know how to say no or whatever the reason you're saying yes is. That also brings up the question, when was the last time that you said yes to yourself? Oof, big oof. That's such a big question. Honestly, makes me want to cry just thinking about it. Don't cry, but ask yourself that question, because it should be like, I don't know, like earlier today. There should be something that you said yes to yourself about. Every single day, you should say yes to yourself on at least one thing. Um, like prioritizing yourself is not selfish. It is essential. And if you don't do it, who's going to do it? So when you think about taking time for yourself or investing in some kind of self-care for yourself, if there are negative feelings or negative thoughts that come up when you do that, like really look at where those thoughts and feelings are coming from. Like, why are you not letting yourself set aside time for yourself to take care of yourself, to prioritize yourself? Like, this isn't being selfish. This isn't being self-centered. It's not neglecting your loved ones or your family. It is doing the bare minimum and hopefully a little bit more for yourself so that you can be the best version of yourself for all of those people and lift everybody up with you instead of potentially needing someone to help carry you as you're like limping along saying yes to everything.
Yeah, that was perfect. Very well said.
Um, Also, like kind of a different viewpoint of that same statement is don't underestimate the cost of neglecting yourself. Like there's a very real effect when you don't take care of yourself, whether it's your health or like physical health, your mental health, the health of your relationships, you know, the lifestyle that your kids and your family see in you. Like be someone that inspires not only yourself but the people around you, by making time, doing the thing that everybody says they don't have time to do. Yeah, that's kind of all I have on boundaries. Do we have any other boundaries thoughts?
Nope, I'm good. I think you said it well, very well.
Cool, excellent. um then we'll move on to your lifestyle, taking a look at your routine. Shalise, you already mentioned it, but schedule in that time for yourself the same way you would with your like your child's soccer game or a doctor's appointment or anything else. All the other things that are on your calendar are just as important as time for yourself. So if that's 15 minutes twice a day or something, if it's a 30-minute block, if you have, you know, an hour that you can spend, um, schedule those things in, even if you're almost like uh turning something into a multi-purpose task. Like your time at the gym can also be your personal time to like reflect or disconnect. You can go on a walk and you can listen to music or a podcast and do the things that you enjoy, you know? So you can combine different tasks at the same time, multitask. I don't know if Atomic Habits, I actually haven't read Atomic Habits yet. Um, but does it talk about, I know it talks about habit stacking, but does it talk about like recognizing that one thing can like serve multiple purposes in your life? So you can almost like repurpose, I don't know, like while you're at the grocery store, you could listen to music. If you feel like you never get to listen to music or you never get to like disconnect, you can like turn.
Yeah, not that I ever remember. It might
Okay.
have it's been a couple of years. It's been probably 4 years since I read it. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
I just remember that one piece really resonated with me at the time.
Yeah.
So that's why I bring it up very often. Um,
Gotcha.
yeah, but I will say this though too. There is, and I'm gonna butcher the name of it, but it's like 3 for 30 or 3 for 3 or something like that. It's I will find his name. But he talks about like work related. So say you work for 3 hours to take an hour off or a half an
Mhm.
hour off for your own time, right? I will say this about this, be careful, is if you're going to take that half hour, don't make it work related. like give yourself a minute to step away from that. And because at the time when I had heard that, like I would go for a walk with my dogs, but what was I sticking in my ear? A podcast about fitness related stuff and nutrition. And I was just again in work mode. So I never switched off. So I had to find like a book or something to read, or music like you were talking about, or a podcast that was completely different, not fitness and nutrition related. So I will say this, if you are doing any moments like that where you're taking time away, make sure it's not work related or focused, or whatever you're taking the time away from, do something that you enjoy that you don't normally get to do on your own free time. Find time for your.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Go ahead, Liz.
So something that I found to be helpful, not just for myself, but for other people, is when I was working like in the office space, it was 3 for 30. So very similar, but it was taking 3 minutes every 30 minutes just for yourself. So just like you said, Shalais, just like step away. Like for me, you could walk around the building in a little under 3 minutes. So that would be like, okay, I don't bring my phone. I just go and like I do this little loop, and it helped for myself to rejuvenate me, right? So then you can refocus and you're not just stuck. And yeah, it's also something that helps you by disconnecting and reducing the stress of, you can't always do it, right? There are some things where it's like, oh, you have to sit down for an hour and like get it done. But yeah. So anyways, 3 for 30. But yeah, Shalais, I don't know if that was what you were going for, but I remember that was what I had learned. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it was. So he talked about the smaller increments like you were just talking about, but then he said, well, if you're not one of those people who can take like that kind of break, maybe it is like that you work for 3 hours, take a half hour. So he talked about longer increments too. And it was at the time I think it was just getting out of teaching, or like I just recently got out of teaching. And I was thinking about, thinking about like middle school schedule, or even, elementary school schedule. It's like, you do this subject for an hour and a half, then it's recess. Then you go back and do this for a little bit, and then it's lunch. And then you go back and do, so they're like, all of that stuff is worked within the schedule of the school systems. And then I was thinking about my training schedule at that time. And it's like, yeah, like I train clients for 3 hours, and then I need a break. I need to go do something else for a little bit. And then I can go back and do that. Like breaking up your day in like that. So you are taking that brain break and getting away from it for a minute. I think like companies like Apple and Google and like all those big companies, like that's mandatory for their client or employees. So I think they implement all that kind of stuff within their business. Yeah.
I think the importance of, like you said, finding a topic that is different than what it is that is causing the stress, for sure, or recognizing that like your nervous system might just need a break. So accepting that silence and not feeling like you need to fill that spot with productivity in another way. Both are important to do. Like, know when it's a good idea to do something that you're like, oh, I've been wanting to do this forever and I want to do more of it. It's a hobby or something like that. And then know when it's like, okay, just quiet time is good. No one talk to me, no phone. Like Liz, you said, don't take the phone, don't answer to anybody else, just vibe out in your own brain.
Yeah, we talked about this, like working lunches too. You're not taking a break. You're not giving yourself that break that your body needs. So at lunch, put your phone away or get away from your laptop, whatever it is. Or if you do have your phone, okay, that's when maybe you do your mindless scrolling or reading a book on the phone, whatever it is. Just take your lunch to have it as a lunch. Don't work through your lunch. I mean, I realize that there's some instances where some of the time it is unavoidable. I get that. As a teacher, I was really guilty of it. I'm sitting there grading papers and eating lunch, but it's so important for your brain to just shut down for a minute or a little bit, just to get away from it. It's amazing how, like Liz, you said, even your 3 minutes, how refreshing was that? How much did, I mean, just that 3 minutes was probably a huge, like, minute or moment for you, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah. Like it was just like it was a total mental reset. And I found that, I could sit down and I could hammer something out for 2 hours, or I could actually be more productive when I took those shorter
yeah.
breaks. Does that make sense? Like I felt, because instead of just like banging my head on the desk, I would be able to like come back with a refreshed feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. So my next note about lifestyle is picking the less efficient option when it's beneficial to your health. So you can say this about a lot of things, whether it's parking a little bit further away. And I'm going to take this from mostly like a fitness perspective. You can do it in other areas of life too. Um, Parking a little bit further away from wherever you're going so you get the extra steps, taking the stairs instead of the elevator when it's reasonable, cooking your food instead of going out and ordering something, doing all of those things so that when you do choose to like set aside efficiency and not be like the most efficient version that you can be, there's a reason for it. You don't have to feel guilty about not doing everything as quickly as possible to be as efficient or as productive as possible. Like you can take that time when it's going to have a benefit, and there's a purpose for doing it that way. I think everybody is so focused on moving very quickly and getting results quickly, and everything needs to happen way faster than we think that everything needs to happen way faster than it actually will. So allowing yourself to be a little bit human, asking for support from your friends and family, um, all of those things can help you with your routine.
Sorry,
So,
I was trying to find the name of that guy.
oh
That's
yeah,
my,
no worries. Um, what do you think is maybe the most, or not the most, we won't say it's the most, but what are some of the things that people do that you see, where it's detrimental to their goals, but they feel like they have to do it? Like, um, one example I can think of is like cooking something that the whole family will eat, and then just making like a recipe that doesn't meet somewhere in the middle. Like either they're gonna have chicken and rice, or they're gonna have like lasagna, like crazy lasagna with like sausage, and you know what I mean? Where they could meet in the middle and do like just a pasta, for example. Um, can you think of any other things like that?
it's always when you put me on the spot, I can't think of anything off the
I
top of
know,
my
sorry.
head.
Some other ones could be like, oh, I have one. Husband and wife. The husband has the gym membership. The wife uses the guest pass, but the wife is the one with the coach who's more driven. So if husband doesn't go to the gym, wife doesn't go to the gym.
Mm,
So it's like, what's the meat in the middle here? Like there's the, okay, wife just doesn't go to the gym, or wife has to force husband to go to the gym, and then it becomes a problem. In the middle, like, why don't you just switch the gym membership to the wife, and then the husband can be the buddy, or just get another gym membership.
right.
Like, get your gym membership. You deserve that. When was the last time you said yes to yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, let's see, what are some other examples? I do think that the working lunch is an example where you feel pressured, like I have to get this work done, or like I'm gonna have so much to do tomorrow. Or I'm I'm not going to meet this deadline. It's like there's so much communication with people that can happen to take that pressure off. Just like Shalise, you were saying, when you communicated with your clients that you were sick, everyone's like, oh, that's okay. You know, communicate like, hey, it's not looking like I can meet this deadline realistically. Like, is there any chance we can push it out? Or can I get help with this deliverable or whatever? Like, you can do so many things if you just communicate, and you don't have to just take it all on and beat yourself up. Yeah.
That's hard. I'll be honest. Delegating's hard,
Yeah.
especially when
Yes.
you're a yes person.
Yeah. I also think like, I mean, when I was working my 9 to 5, I was in roles where I did have to delegate at certain points, but I still had to oversee the progress and like make sure that everything looked good. That part is, um, it's important to like switch your mindset to a supportive role instead of being the doer. Like you can still bring value and have like a pretty solid impact on the final product, if you know, give people a little bit of space to do the job, and then just check in. Like you build your own check-in strategy to where like that's your new focus is, are you checking in the right way to make sure that these people are feeling like supportive, and that, you know, your quality of whatever needs to come out is good. This is very specific to like corporate or like business stuff, but um yeah, you don't always have to be the doer. You can be, you can do in other ways besides actually making the product.
Yeah,
It's hard when it's your baby though, when you feel like, you know,
for sure.
yeah, like is this representative of of me and everything that I envisioned for this? Like if you were to do it, yeah, giving people the space to do things the way that they would do it. It's tough.
Again, that was another conversation that Ken and I were having the other night about iron and lace. It's like
Mhm.
I get so overwhelmed with social media, like all the different, this is what you need to do, this is how many times you have to post, this is what it should say, all of these like things that you have to do for your business. And I'm just like, I just want to post. Like it's so overwhelming to plan it and do it and edit it and be all the things for it. And he's like, so do you want to hire somebody? And I'm like, well, no, because I want to make sure that, you know, that it says exactly what I want it to say. So I'm going to sit there and bitch about it and how daunting the task is. But I'm also not going to do anything about it, like by hiring someone else or actually do it because it's so overwhelming.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard. It's hard to let go of that control a little bit too.
Hmm. Yeah. And it's just as important to decide the things that you don't want to change or you don't want to give up control as it is to pick out the things that you do. Like you can still hold on to certain things as long as you're able to like release in other ways. So what, you know, when we're talking about people's lifestyles, determining which habits or tasks like maybe they can give away. You know, if like cleaning, you know, if cleaning the house is something that you just can't keep up with, like you can hire someone to help you with that, or meal prep. Even like there are meal prep companies. I know mixed feelings on that, especially as coaches, but there are potential ways that you can do it, with like the bulk proteins where it's like, okay, I could see, you know, I could see that being helpful for someone who maybe travels a lot, for example. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, last thing I have on here is to just be the change and watch how others follow your lead. So if you are afraid of making any of these changes or afraid of what might happen if you do start to prioritize yourself and take away time from other things in your life, try it and then tell other people about it and see how you can inspire them, because it really does make a difference. Like anytime I see someone living their life in a way that I'm like, wow, you know, I would love to do that, or I would love to incorporate that into my life. Like it does inspire more change. It's a driver. So um people will most likely get on board with the things that you're doing if you explain to them like why you're doing it and why it's important and how it makes you feel. So be proud of wanting balance. Don't be afraid of it. Okay, before we finish, I will go through, there were 3 like exercises that I mentioned that I think would be beneficial. So if anybody is going through this call series and wants to follow along like with a little written worksheet, the first thing is writing down the things that stress you and asking yourself, are you ignoring it? Are you tolerating it? Or are you working to eliminate it? For boundaries, you can ask yourself what fills your cup versus what empties it, and which of those things do you want to prioritize or eliminate? And then for your routine, we can just say like, when was the last time you said yes to yourself? I do really like that one for your routine. So those are 3 exercises you can do after this call to get a better idea of what it is that you might want to change and how. But that's all I got for you guys today.
I like those.
Any final words?
I think I might implement that first one you just said.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to have you repeat it again, but
yeah, are you ignoring, tolerating, or eliminating a stressor?
I like that.
Yeah. Because there's a place for all 3 in life, unfortunately, and fortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Shalace, Liz, anything you guys want to say?
No, this was great. Thank you. Oh, also, I just want you guys to know that we ate dinner while watching this as a family.
Yay!
So
Multitasking.
Yes.
I love it.
So,
thank you guys.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes,
Happy to be the dinner entertainment.
Oh, yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. What was for dinner?
Tostadas.
Oh, yum.
Yeah.
Oh, I
And
want
did you
tostadas.
enjoy that with them, Liz? Did you have tostadas too?
Yes, I did have tostadas with them. Yes.
You didn't
That's
make
the great
totally
thing
separate
is
meals
that,
for yourself.
yep, like it's not even a free meal. Like you can make it work. Meat in the middle.
Right.
I was going to say extra side of meat.
Yes. Extra meat. Yep.
She's sprinkled in creatine and protein powder.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Little gritty. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
Too
Well, thank
funny.
you again, you guys.
Listening.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
for
Have a great
joining.
night. Yes.
Good night, you guys.